Hi, people. Welcome to another amazing episode of the Cafe One Pod, your favorite podcast. This is where we help you decide if you want to be into the entrepreneurship, startup life, or you just want to relax and be taken care of. I lied. That's not what we do here. What we do here is we bring founders, business owners, entrepreneurs to come and really walk us through their process, to talk about their businesses, challenges, and how they scaled through the hurdles that life must have thrown at them while starting their businesses or while in the course of business. Today's episode is very special to me because this is a brand that I can remember the first time I walked into their store, and this was the first place I tried a parfait, and they made me love parfaits. I really, really like and enjoy parfaits a lot. I know I've said parfait 100 times, but guys, bear with me. I really like them. So this brand is a brand that somehow has tapped into the healthy eating market in Nigeria, and they are killing it. So we have SoFresh founder, or one of the SoFresh founders, in the building with us today. His name is Goke, and he's going to introduce himself shortly. But first, this is the right time to like this video, to share, and to subscribe to the channel everywhere. If you're watching on YouTube, if you're listening on Spotify, or if this is even just a snippet on Instagram. Straight to our guest now. Hi Goke, welcome to the Cafe One Pod.
Hi, thanks for having me.
Amazing. So let's know you more. I don't know why Nigerians say that. Let's know you more.
Okay. So what else? Okay, my name is Goke Balogun. I'm one of the co-founders of SoFresh. Married, have 3 beautiful kids. I'm a biochemist by training, and I've had various work experiences across restaurant, beverage, oil and gas. I've done operations, production, marketing. Um, yeah. In between, I'll say my hustle days, working, 9 to 5, I caught the entrepreneurial bug, and I decided to start So Fresh with my wife, and that's what I've been doing for the past 15 years.
It's very surprising to me that SoFresh is up to 15 years.
Yeah, we will be 15 years this year, November.
Interesting. Will you do party?
Yes.
Are we
It's
invited?
everybody's invited. Everybody's
Are we
invited.
invited? Free SoFresh. Because you guys
Watch out, November. 15 years of So Fresh.
Okay, definitely we'll be there. I will be there. I for one will be there. So now we've properly introduced the business So Fresh, but let's really go back to where it all started from. So can you give us a little bit of background to how you grew the business, or in fact how So Fresh today came to be?
Okay. So Fresh. Becoming, starting So Fresh was a very interesting journey. Um, so it started back when I finished university. I finished serving. I was at home for some months. I was looking for a job, and there was just that moment of, I was a light bulb moment. I just thought to myself, why can't I create a store where you could buy fruit and vegetable, um, fresh produce, ingredients, tomatoes, yams, and all of that, in a very organized and serene environment. Because I grew up going to the market with my mom a lot, and I never liked it. I hated it because we walked and walked. The markets were dirty, sometimes smelly, rain, sun. And the way the markets are organized, there will be somewhere that they'll be selling like peppers and tomatoes. Then there'll be another
A
place they're
different
selling
place, yeah.
meats, and you have to go from place to place. So I didn't like that experience. So I had that idea. Of course, I didn't do anything about it, but the interesting thing was that I wrote it down and I forgot about it. And then I got my first job, I got my second job, I got my third job. By the time I got my third job, I got married, and I went to South Africa for a training for 2 years. And that idea I had when I just finished school, I saw it live in South Africa. I had this there was this very huge supermarket So imagine you walk into a shop, right, and the only thing they sold was fruits and vegetables. And I fell in love with the idea. And so the 2.5 years I was there, that was where I did all my shopping. And then I came back to Nigeria, with my wife. We had a little baby about, less than a year. And of course, we had to adjust back to, Nigerian life, going to the market. I was always going to the market with her. Sometimes we go together. Sometimes I would stay in the car with the baby. And I just didn't like that experience. It was very stressful. And the idea came back like, why don't I create this business? That's exactly the kind of place I would like to shop. You know how much I hate going to the market. So why not we create it? And that's exactly what we set out to do. So we started thinking about it, doing research and just planning. And then, sometime in 2010, we opened this really cute store in Ogba where we had, we're just selling fruits and vegetables. We had peppers, we had, lettuce, we had orange, we had everything. Huge rows of fruits and vegetable. Very cute store. And that was how the business started. The business didn't used to be called So Fresh. It was called Fruity Veggies. So I named it Fruity Veggies. And, with benefit of hindsight, I always say terrible name because it was even difficult for customers to pronounce. Some people call it fugitive, some people call it fruity G, and all of that. But of course, we persisted with the name for some time, and that was what we set out to do. So we started, selling fruits and vegetables. But the first 3 years were really rough. But we persisted with the name, and that was really how So Fresh came to be. That was a start.
The start.
It started as Fruity Veggies, a modernized, serene, conducive fruits and vegetable store.
Amazing. So how did that business now grow and evolve into like what So Fresh is at the moment?
So the growth and evolution started actually pretty quickly. In less than a week, 2 weeks, we started attracting customers. And when they came in, I don't know, maybe because the way the store was set up, when they came in, they were asking, "Oh, can I get a juice?" This was 2010. There was really nobody doing juices and smoothies as a business. Customers would walk in to say, "Can I get a juice? Can I get a smoothie?" We said, "No, we're just selling fruits and vegetable." Then the next day they will walk in, "Oh, can I get a fruit pack? That has maybe watermelon,
So
pineapple,
their own
apple."
requests.
And we're not doing any of that. We didn't have plan. There was no kitchen. There was no knife in the store. And then by third week, I told my wife, "This is what customers are asking for. Let's try this." I didn't even really make juice at home. We didn't make juice at home. We didn't make smoothies at home.
Yeah.
If you are thinking of juice back then, you got your packed
yes,
juices.
You go and buy those
Nobody
packet
was
juice.
doing it, And so I just went to, I remember I went to Game, in Lekki Phase 1, the Palms. And I just walked into their electronics section. I didn't even walk around. I said, "Give me the biggest juicer you have. Give me the biggest smoothie maker you have." And they gave me the two, went back home, carried a small table in the middle, carried a small table, took it to the store, put it in the middle, and we put the juicer on it. And that's how I started doing juices, started doing smoothies. And customers started loving it. That was what they were coming for. And that's how we started experimenting with juices, smoothies, meals. Started doing fruit packs, and that kind of took off for the business. By the 3 year mark, the fruits, vegetable, and fruit packs and some few salads we were doing was already doing about 60% of the business. People were still buying fruits and vegetables. We added groceries at a point in time, but the meals was what people were coming for because there was nothing like it when we started. Nobody was doing, that you opened a restaurant and all you were selling was juices, smoothies, and salad. And that's how So Fresh came to pioneer in the healthy food business in Nigeria, really by what the customers were asking for. And so in 2013, after 3 years, the business was really struggling. Sales had plateaued, it wasn't growing, it was not profitable. And remember, I was in paid employment. My wife too had a law firm. We were just basically funding the business with our salary. So we really considered, or I really pushed for us to close down the business because I thought, why are we spending so much and we're not getting anything in return? But after a lot of conversation with my wife, I said, let's take a step back. We looked at everything we are doing in the business. We looked at our, data operations, everything we had done, and we started to see some interesting patterns, and that led us to, to do two major things. We did a number of things, but two major things. One, we knew that if this business was going to survive, we needed to change the location. The location was poor. We were in Ogba, and we were in Ogba back street. It wasn't going to work. So that was when we moved to Ikoyi in 2020. In 2013, we moved to Ikoyi. The second thing we did was that we looked at the business. The business has evolved. We were not just selling fruits and vegetables, and we thought we needed a new identity that resonated with people and really embody what the business had become. And names are powerful in business because when you name a business, you want it to be easily recallable, you want it to be simple, you want it to evoke emotion. And so we started, bouncing ideas between me and my wife. What should we name this business? Natural, wholesome, and all of that. And one day my wife walked up to me and says, "So fresh." Immediately she said it. I said, "That's the name." We locked it down, did our registration, did trademark. And in 2013, we changed the business name from Fruity Veggies to So Fresh. And that was the year we got to Ikoyi. So people never knew the business as Fruity Veggies in Ikoyi.
Okay.
By the time we opened the store in Ikoyi, it was So Fresh.
It was already So Fresh.
In fact, for you to know that it was originally conceived as a market, the full business name is So Fresh Neighborhood Market Limited. And the first signboard is actually So Fresh Neighborhood Market because we wanted it to be a market. But like I said, listening to the customer in those very early days was very important, and the customers gave us an idea of this is what the market wants, this is what the customer wants. For me, that was one of my first biggest lessons in business. 3 weeks after I started business, and I'm a stickler for planning, so I'd planned that business for 9 months. I actually wrote a business plan. I got this big book about writing a business plan, and I wrote my business plan. And in 3 weeks, customer told me, "We like your business plan, but this is what I want. This is what we want." And somehow I was smart enough to respond to that market need, and that was how So Fresh came to be. 3 years after we started as Fruity Veggies.
Okay, so there was a phase where you started as one thing, and in 3 years time you had to evolve, you had to change the name, you had to change the location,
the product offerings. We expanded the meals.
Amazing.
By the time we got to Ikoyi, it was built as a proper restaurant with an open kitchen. Yes, we still had fruits and vegetables in the store, but we had an open kitchen. We had fridges, we had all of that, and people could sit down and have their meals in the store. It was now like a proper healthy food restaurant by the time we opened in Ikoyi.
Amazing. So now we're in 2013, right? And So Fresh is now So Fresh. It's no longer fugitive.
No.
It's now So Fresh. So how did we get to that point where it was like, okay, let's increase the hands that we have here, right? We have a store in Ogba. I'm assuming the store in Ogba was still there.
So but when we opened in Ikoyi 2013, business took off almost immediately. It's like they had been waiting for us forever. In about 2-3 months, we quadrupled our sales in Ikoyi, and it was so good that we were even finding it difficult in terms of capacity to manage both Ikoyi and Ogba then. And Ogba sales was declining at a fast rate, so we closed down Ogba in 2014, early 2014.
Okay.
Maybe like after 5-6 months, we closed down Ogba, and then we faced Ikoyi. And because Ikoyi was really doing well, at that very early stage that we started.
Okay, but even at Ikoyi now, did you have the same staff strength? Did you have the same business needs? So how did you come to that point where you're like, okay, yeah, we definitely need to increase certain things here?
I mean, so honestly, in the early days, it was a mix of um I'm a stickler for systems and
Yeah.
structures, and so I'd always planned ahead. And because I had experience working in a restaurant, I knew what to expect. And so, by the time we got to Ikoyi and I saw the sales trajectory, we knew that, so for example, when we started doing 200K per day, I knew that, by the time we got to 300, 350, we're going to maybe need to add one more production staff, or one more this, one more that. So we always planned ahead to say, at this volume of operations, this is what we're going to need.
Okay.
But of course, sometimes things happen that you don't even expect, and sometimes you scramble. Because I remember there was a particular point that it looked like in a week sales jumped by almost 200K, and everybody was struggling. We're just try to manage people who worked overtime to be able to increase the staff. But I would say really is really about looking at your operations and planning for growth, and knowing if I'm using 3 people to do this and I need this amount of resources to do this, I'm talking of raw materials, what would I need if I am now doing double of this, or if I grow by 50%? So as a business person, one of your biggest strength is planning. Always planning ahead for growth, planning ahead for emergencies, and having a contingency plan. If this happens, if this goes this way, what do I
What
do?
do I do?
Yeah.
Yeah, so you always have to be as a business owner, you always have to be proactive. Yeah.
2-3 steps ahead. That's why plan is important. When I tell people, when you start your year, you should not start your year without planning. You should plan to say, okay, last year I sold 500. Let's say you want to sell 500 this year. That's fine. Then you want to do everything you did last year the same, right? But you can't even do everything, because guess what? Maybe you now have competitors that want to steal your market. So if you want to do 500 again this year, then you now have to think, what do we need to do to maintain it? But let's say you want to grow by 1 million. It's not going to happen by chance. You need to plan for it. How do I reach new customers? How do I sell more to existing customers? What do I need to do? Do I need to change my marketing? Do I need to open up one more store? Do I need to increase my sales channel? So you have to plan for all of that. If I need to do that, will I need more staff? Will I need more raw materials? So you have to sit down every year.
Yeah.
You have to sit down and make a plan for the next year, and then throughout the course of the year, you are constantly reviewing it. I mean, a rule of thumb is to do that every month or every quarter. So what have we done? So we are now 25% into the year. Where are we? What do we need to do to close out the remaining? So you are constantly planning, looking at what you're doing, looking at where you're going, and planning has to take account of all your resources, so financial, human, raw materials, everything.
I don't know, this may not be like, it may not be as straightforward, but I feel like even in the midst of planning, right, you also have to give like a lot of room, right, for amendments.
Absolutely.
Even like, because you can plan, it can go either way.
You can go either way.
You can
have
plan,
to be
and
very,
like your plans are too small to fit into
yes,
how big things
you have
turn
to
out
be
to be.
very, very flexible. There's also a level of intuition, for you to know, this thing is changing. What do we need to do? Remember, I told you when we started, it was just to sell fruits and vegetable, but in 3 weeks, the plan completely changed.
Yeah.
But what a plan gives you is a basis to move from where you are.
Yes.
So you have something you're working with, and then you can even know, what do I need to adjust, what do I need to change, because you are working from a baseline. So yes, you must be open to changes. You must listen to the market. You must listen to your customer. You must watch how your operations are moving. New opportunities can arise that fits into your mission as a business. You want to take advantage of it, so you are constantly looking at what's going on within your business and outside your business, and responding accordingly.
Yeah, I agree with that, definitely. So now let's step far away from 2013. We're years into the business. So when did you open your second location, and what made you feel ready after closing one location?
Yeah.
So what made you feel ready to now open a second one confidently?
So we were around in Ikoyi for like 2 years, 2013. By 2014, something had happened. We so I knew of Instagram in 2013, right? And so we had a pitch for the business. We started pushing the business online, and because it was very new, there was nothing like it. Word of mouth spreads so fast. If you want to find juices, you want to find smoothies, you want to eat fresh, they will even make it in front of you.
Mm-hmm.
Go to So Fresh. I told you we're selling groceries, things like chia seed, flaxseed,
Okay.
granola. These were things that were very not common. Go to So Fresh. So business just grew, and then by middle of 2014, people have started calling us from mainland that they wanted delivery. Remember, we left mainland to come to island, and started doing deliveries in 2014 to the mainland, but it wasn't efficient. You take one or two salads from Ikoyi to GRA Ikeja. We were doing it, but it wasn't efficient. By the time we looked at the amount of requests and the volume of delivery we were doing to Ikoyi, as inefficient as it was, we knew that now it's time to go back to the mainland, because our numbers, inquiries, inbound calls, sales, delivery justified it. And so we went in search of a new location in Okpebi.
Okay.
By the way, we're still in that location in Ikoyi 2013. We got to Ikoyi in 2015. We're still in that location. And so we opened a second store in Okpebi. When we opened Okpebi, it was just like, we've been waiting for you forever. Sales just from day one.
I don't understand. Ogba to Okpebi is like 5 or 10 minutes. So what happened between 2013? Sorry, the 3 years, 2010 actually. What happened within those 5 years that now made Okpebi a hot spot where people just ran away?
Okpebi, very hot spot till today, right? But I think the thing is, one, by 2015, there was a lot of awareness about healthy eating. I would say that was around the time. In fact, when I look back, we were quite early to the market. By the time I started doing juices, smoothies, salads in 2010, a lot of people are not paying attention. By 2015, you had a global awareness around food, the kind of food we eat, the impact it has on us, how it's prepared, freshness, organic, and that also that was also happening in Nigeria. So the fit farm, I would say the fit farm craze started around that time.
Yeah.
So by that time there was a lot of awareness, and that helped. So that was what was done from 2015 to 2013. The second thing that was different is that, Okpebi is far, I would say premium and high end than Ogba. And where we are was very visible. It was right in the middle of Ikeja. It was not far from GRA. It was close to Allen and Okpebi. It was not far from Alausa. So it was a very good location where we had a bulk of our target audience. The thing sometimes is, people will say, if you make a statement, like, people say, oh, there are middle class, upper class in Ogba. Yes, there are, but what's the percentage? As against if you are in Okpebi, is a bigger percentage. So where you want to be is where you have a bigger percentage of your audience. Your audience, wherever you are, you're not going to have 100% your audience, but if you're somewhere, you should be able to have 70 to 80% of your target audience in that area, as against somewhere where you have 20-30% of your of your target audience. So I think those are the two things that was different in 2015. The location, the awareness at Uri was different.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Actually, I remember really that Fit Farm only not recently, but like sort of recently became a thing.
Yeah.
It actually,
yes, it started brewing 2014, 2015. In fact, then every store opening, we always did like a fitness event. when we opened up, maybe the fitness event was big.
Mm.
People came and all of it, because it was. I think we even partnered with Trooper. Trooper just started then. So yes, that awareness really helped push the business. In those early days.
Okay, so it's been all smooth and it's been a beautiful journey, but we know that it couldn't have been all rosy while you were embarking on this journey. So tell us a little bit about maybe a challenging period that you faced in the business, whether it was sales related or even like maybe personal, and it's sort of like cast upon the business as well. So just tell us a little bit about that and how you overcame that challenge.
So which one do I say?
You have many issues.
I mean, there will always be challenges, and there have been real challenges. I mean, like I said, so let me just try to maybe do two or three quickly. And just share some of the lessons I learned. Like I said, by 2013,
Mm.
the business really struggled. It was not profitable. We were just losing money, and that was the first big challenge because sales wasn't growing. Um, the market wasn't ready. Two, we were at the wrong location, and we couldn't just push. And by that time, we already started having a lot of interest. The government was coming, tax,
Yeah.
expenses, and so what we were making was not able to cover for the cost of running the business. That was a very first big challenge, and I asked myself, what do I do now? I close this business and move on with my life, and enjoy my 9 to 5 salary. um but one of the things we did, like, we took a step back and said, let's look at our data. And that's the first thing I tell people. Data is very important for your business because it helps you contextualize everything that is happening.
Mm-hmm.
A lot happens in business. You are repairing this, you are buying this, you are fighting with customer, your staff is doing this. At the end of the day, data kind of gives you context into all of those things.
Yeah.
And so we went back and looked at our sales data, our purchase data, our everything we're doing,
Mm-hmm.
our margins, our cost, and started seeing patterns. So that was what helped us to make a decision to say location was wrong. Let me quickly give you why we picked on location. So we found out that we opened from 7 to like 8,
At
but
7 a.m.
7 a.m. to
to
8
8
p.m.
p.m. Okay.
But 75% of our sales happened between 5 and 8.
Hmm.
So we asked why. Apparently, our customers, people that bought from us, they walked on the island. It's only when they return
Yeah,
that they
that they'll
made
be
purchase.
able
In
to
fact, then
purchase.
some
Yeah.
people say, "Oh, I'm still on the third mainland. Please don't close. I want to pick up a juice." But data showed us clearly the pattern, and there are other things that data showed us. We are started now doing events. We looked at our event sales. When we do events on the island, the revenue we made, swallowed whatever we made in the store. And putting all of that together, customer interaction as well, we knew that we needed to go and meet our customers where they are. So that was how we first of all overcame that hurdle. And you would always need that. You're analyzing your sales, you're analyzing your costs, you're analyzing even buying patterns. You should be able to tell your peak periods in your business. If you're a retail business, they're buying
Mm-hmm.
every hour. When's your peak period? How should you schedule? So I'll say data first of all helps you look into your business and make sound decisions. um then challenge, staffing will always be a challenge for any SME and even for most businesses. There's time we struggle with staff. There's a particular incident that my wife would not forget. I think I was not around. She got to the store, and it was in Ikoyi, we had about maybe 6 or 7 staff, and 4 of the staff supposed to resume that morning didn't show up, and it was a scramble. Only so the 3 out of the 4 didn't show up. Only 1 showed up. So my wife joined the one. She called me. I joined them. We rallied the other staff that supposed to work afternoon. They just abandoned the job, and we started asking and questioning ourselves, why this, why that. So there are a lot of staff issues. Apart from that, when you are an SME, sometimes you find it difficult to attract the top talents because you don't have the money to pay. You have to be very realistic with yourself. Apart from that, you have the money to pay. They're very skeptical about, should I work for this business? What's the future? What's the plan? Because most SMEs don't have a plan. They just want people to work for them, and there is no deliberate plan of how it's going to grow, mature, and all of that. So there's always all those issues around staffing. I think the third issue around staffing is being able to manage them to deliver the kind of results you want. So staff will come, they will do B when you expect them to do C and all of that. So for us, the way we've been able to tackle that is, one, to have very strong systems and structure. So in fact, I smile because when we were at Ogba, very small tiny shop, the way I ran my recruitment, you would think that they were hiring for a Unilever, because I had experience interviewing for all those businesses and I learned from all of them.
When you were in HR, or
No,
like
I was in HR, just
as a person,
as a potential candidate.
Okay.
So that's something about me. I absorb a lot from every experience. So I designed, me and my we designed, the recruiting, system to really be able to sift out good talent. Many, some SMEs or business entrepreneurs don't have a robust way they recruit talent. Even if you want to recruit cashier, there should be a minimum criteria. What's the JD? What's the role expectation? And all of that. So starting from recruitment, it was very strong. Training, I have been very, very strong on training. So for example, you cannot step into a So Fresh outlet to work. You would have minimum undergone a training for 2 weeks. Now, many retail business, even the big retail business, struggle with that because there's a lot of high turnover in retail at the lower level. So staff come in and you throw them into the kitchen. They come in, just do 1 2 days, throw them into the kitchen. We, as much as possible, we don't do that. So from recruitment to training and retraining, and just prioritizing the welfare of the staff and letting them know that here there's a plan for you, there's a growth for you. You can grow with the business itself as a goal, as a destination is going to. So all of that has kind of helped us be able to manage the staffing issues.
Okay, so for me, I think what I picked as I feel is most important is the fact that you said that you, like, there's a trajectory for people. It's not like you employ maybe a sales assistant and expect that forever.
Yeah.
All this person is going to do is when somebody comes into the shop, they punch on their, I don't know what that thing is called, and that's it. For the next 5 years, they are doing the same tasks over and over and over again. That way, nobody is going to stay.
Yeah, because what a lot of business owners fail to realize, that this sales girl has a dream, has aspirations, has ambitions of her own. It's not just about you and for you to be able to fund your lifestyle. It's about how does the business grow as well. That's why your business should have a mission, should have a vision, should have an objective. I tell entrepreneurs that the onus lies on you to grow and scale this business. If you want customers, because they'll say my staff is not loyal. Why should they be loyal to you? They should be loyal to you, that you're able to feed your family, send your children to school, and maybe travel abroad once or twice. Why should they be loyal to that? Who are you? What they will be loyal to, they will be loyal to themselves and their interests. And the only way you can match it is if you are determined to grow the business and they see that your actions align with that, and as the business is growing, they can grow. We have so many incidents. The first general manager at So Fresh, I think she should be 11 years now, started as a store supervisor. She grew, specialized in supply chain management, certified internationally. She's a GM today. We've had people, our first operations manager came to So Fresh to do internship after NYC. Customer said she was receiving calls. She grew, became an outlet supervisor, outlet manager, became an operations manager. She's now the business manager for one of the top leading cinema chains. She grew through so fresh. So when people come, when you even bring in new people, those are the people they will look up to, because you also have somewhere you're taking them to.
exactly. They will see people that have been in their position in the past and where they are now, and for them it's obvious that there is an opportunity to grow.